This is Eva. We're going to be doing some balayage today. We're going to make her blonder. She's naturally quite light. She had balayage, how long has it been, like almost 2 years since she was last colored. So the very ends is what's left. We are going to take off a little bit of her ends just to refresh her because she's naturally quite curly and she wants to get that curl back. So we're going to do some facial framing with that blonde, kind of like a money piece, but a little bit softer. And then we're going to really concentrate the ends to be blonde, slowly cascading up so she has low maintenance. But we are going to get her started. So this whole bottom section I'm going to take together. Again, her hair is naturally really light. She's naturally curly. So she is going to lift a lot faster than most. So I'm not going to take such teeny tiny sections, especially since she wants the concentration at the bottom. So a new little trick I've learned, if you guys have ever used these barber little Velcros, they're really good for holding the hair out of the way. And now I'm going to just go through and paint. So again, concentrating most of the lightener at the bottom. I'm going to slowly cascade up here, making sure we got a nice little blend. And again, the teasing will help blend as well. And once I get a good concentration, I'll place that foil underneath. Now, different sections I might use my painting board to help really get that lightener to go all the way through. But this underneath again is going to process really nicely because all the hair on top is going to kind of make a little incubator. So I don't want to lift it too much. So I've gone up a couple more foils. I go from middle, then I angle both the sides back. Middle again. This middle, I did 2 separate ones. One cascading up, did fine weaves, cascaded it all the way up. And then this one I did in a V, and I left some depth there. So now I am taking another diagonal back. This one I'm going to take all together. Again, she wants the concentration at her ends, and we want to leave some depth. So not every one will I take 2. So this one I'm going to go ahead. And I'm really going to kind of angle this forward this way. So that way, when it comes back, I'm still going to go up on an angle. I'm going to leave the depth back here. I'll show you right here. So I'm going to cascade up higher in the front here. And since I'm over directing the hair far forward, when I pull it back, see how that moves? And it gives that nice depth through here. So this is just another trick to help the blend. Again, I'm concentrating the saturation through the ends. You can see it doesn't go all the way through. So some of the areas I'm going to apply some underneath. See that? Applied it underneath. And I'm going to leave the rest. You want to keep depth and dimension in. I'm not folding the foils because her hair is so long and I want to keep everything processing nice. There we go. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side and continue up. Okay, so this side, both these sides I'm doing 2 in a row. So I did a very thinly weaved one first. Underneath, I did this lower cascading painted piece. Again, concentration on the ends. The same thing on the other side. And then my last piece in the back, I am only going to do the lower cascading. I'm not going to cascade it very high. I want to leave depth. So I'm just going to repeat that on this side. And then this last piece across is just going to be concentrated on the lower half, so we can leave some depth and dimension. So now with these front sections, I already did the same few on the other side. This little bottom piece right here in front of the ear, I'm just going to take the whole thing and tease it. All the little baby hairs will kind of come right out. But since we want more of that money piece kind of look, we want to keep that brightness around the face. So this whole area I'm going to tease and foil, but I'm still going to cascade it up closer in the front towards her face. And then on top of that one, I'm going to take another little section here. And I'm going to do two separate foils. One I'm going to do a really fine weave. And this one I'm going to again go up higher, cascade it up nice and high around the face. And then that one underneath, I'm going to concentrate it more so on the ends. That is about as high as I'm going to go. And I'm going to continue that kind of method up the sides of the head. And the last area I'm going to do is this front area where it's going to be more so the money piece. So from here on out, I'm going to kind of go in between these back foils and these front foils, and I'm going to take the hair on a diagonal back like this. Okay, so this is how everything's looking. As I'm foil pulling, you can see that depth in between. It's kind of got that nice cascade going on. Now these last few, I'm waiting for this last one here to finish processing. So this guy's ready. So I'm going to pull that one out of the way. This guy's ready. But this last one here needs a little more processing. So I'm going to pin him out of the way. And I'm going to get this area washed out, and then we will wait till that front area is done processing. So it's going to be a little awkward to get her in the bowl. She's got a lot of hair, but so far so good. Okay, so I just mixed up a tiny root tap. I did half 6T, half 6NB. And then for pull through, I'm going to do mainly 10NW. I want to keep the brightness, and I want it to be a very soft tone blonde. So I'm at 25 grams of 10NW, and then I'm going to do just 4 grams of 10VG. And I usually always for my toners use the gloss to gel from Shades. I don't like it super runny. It's already messy as it is. I'm gonna go ahead and apply it to her. Her hair lifted really, really nicely. The toner isn't really necessarily for tone for her. She lifted beautifully. It's just to kind of condition and moisturize the hair. And I also did a acidic bond builder treatment when I washed her out. Just gonna give it that glossy glass hair. I absolutely love the acidic bond builder treatment. If you have not tried it, I highly recommend it. It rebuilds, strengthens, adds shine, moisture, helps repair the acidic bonds in your hair. And it is different from Olaplex. It uses a different technology, but I absolutely, absolutely love it. So again, I'm just doing a tiny little tap. She's already super blended. I'm not doing it for any more blending. But my biggest concern is to make sure, especially where the money piece is, I do not like a harsh line. So this is just going to give it a slight blur. But I want everything to be cohesive, so I am just going to apply it everywhere on her roots. And then what I will do is once I finish applying the tap, the root tap here, I will apply her toner throughout her whole ends, and then I will brush them together. You could use a comb, a brush, whatever you prefer. She brushed out very, very nicely for the amount of teasing we had in her hair. And especially with her being curly as well, she brushed out really nicely. And then once we get around the face, I'm just gonna lightly, lightly, lightly tap. So, doing the same thing that I did on the other side, you could, I'm sure, see it better on this side. Just a nice light tap at the roots. And then when it's wet, you could see how pretty that blonde is. Once I do that tap, once we brush it, everything will blend very, very cohesively together. Now this area is the most important because we're getting right into that money piece. So the tiniest little tap and drag. And again, when we brush it together, it'll really melt it. Perfect. Now I'm just going to kind of apply this everywhere. You should wear gloves. And I'm going to brush it all together. I'm going to concentrate mostly down here. At the very ends, I'm going to concentrate around her hairline. And you can see it's already starting to dry. That's the area that dries the fastest and will absorb it the fastest. So I'm going to worry about that at the end. Just trying to make sure I get it everywhere. And then when we brush it through, it'll all completely melt. Now for her hair, I'm going to use a brush and not a comb just because she's curly, wavy texture. I don't want to put any stress on the hair. And regularly, people with curly or wavy hair should use wide tooth combs or a wet brush. Fine tooth combs might tug the hair a little too much. And I'm brushing it from root to tip, melding those two toners together. And that's when I'm going to start incorporating that front piece here. And then we'll just let it sit for a few minutes. Wash her out one more time, trim, and then style, and we will be back for the final review. So here is her finished look. Again, we have most of that concentration around the face and her ends. It nicely, lightly cascades up all throughout, but it's going to be soft outgrowth for her. You can see it lightly cascades up, but she still has a nice depth, so it's going to have that soft outgrowth. It feels really, really good, very healthy. So this is her final look. Thank you so much for watching.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Bye.